In this video, we're going to be installing aluminum paddle shifters on the F33. Let's go. What's up everyone, I'm Steve and you're watching F33. Now if you like this video, give us a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you don't miss when a new video drops. Now the paddle shifters on the 3 and 4 series are tiny. When you're shredding through the mountains or on the track, it's extremely difficult for your fingers to reach out to those paddles and shift gears. Now to overcome this problem, you have a couple different options. You can use the stick-on extensions or you can replace the paddles altogether with larger ones. Now I'm not a fan of the stick-on extensions for a couple different reasons. The first reason is that they look like they're stuck on with 3M tape. The second reason is that the tape that's holding them on can actually degrade over time and cause the extension to come off while you're using them. Now, can you imagine that you're carving through those mountains, you come up to a switchback, you go to downshift, and the paddle comes off? Yeah, that doesn't sound too safe. And that's why I'm choosing to upgrade the paddles altogether with these from Kies Motorsports. Now, the ones that I chose are the aluminum satin ones, but Kies Motorsports has a ton of different styles. Now, they have carbon in either gloss or matte, and then they have the aluminum in black, red, blue, or again, like I said, satin, which is the ones that I chose. Now, be sure to check out the description below as I've put links to the paddles from Kies Motorsports, as well as other mods that I've done in the past. Now, I was really tempted to get the blue, but I decided to go with satin because it goes with the rest of the interior. And to be honest, my first thought was to go with carbon, but that wasn't going to match anything else in the interior. Now I've been looking all over for F33 carbon interior trim, but I've only found trim for the F32 so far. Now, as you know, the F33s have the controls for the top and the center console, so normal F32 carbon trim piece there isn't going to work. That's one piece that's basically been holding me back from doing carbon in the interior. So I'm interested to see what you think. Comment down below with which paddles you think look best. Now the quality on these aluminum paddle shifters is top notch. I couldn't be happier with them. I do think it would be cool if I could put somehow blue on the plus and minus sign. I think that would be really cool. But that's something that I'm going to tackle a different day. All right, so let's get out to the garage and get these installed. I can't wait to see how these feel and how much more aggressive it makes the steering wheel look. The tools needed for this install are a T20, 10mm deep socket, a ratcheting wrench, pick tool and trim tool, a microfiber cloth, and a long Torx or screwdriver. The difficulty for this install is easy. The first thing you'll need to do is prepare the new paddles. Here's what the paddle should look like once it's put together. In your kit, you'll see 2 sets of black plastic pieces and 2 screws. These are going to be what holds the paddle to the wheel. The small piece is going to slot in on the front of the paddle. Now make sure that all the tabs are properly locked in place. Once you've got the front mounted correctly, the larger piece will clip on the back. The nice thing about this is that it only fits in one way. Now once you've got those pieces mounted in place, go ahead and use the provided screw to lock it all together. Here's what it should look like when you're all finished. Now that we've prepared the paddles, we can go ahead and disconnect the battery. We're going to be removing the airbag, so disconnecting the battery is going to be essential. Now in the F33, the battery is not as easy to get to as in other models. To get to the battery, you'll need to put the top in a partial open configuration. This will get the top out of the way as well as the trunk and give you plenty of room to work with. Take your trim tool and remove the 11 plastic fasteners securing both the carpet liner covering the battery compartment, as well as the plastic cover protecting the hinge mechanics. Now to remove those fasteners, you'll want to first pull out the center. Once that center's out, you can just pull it out by hand. Now that all the fasteners are out, it's time to remove the liner covering the battery. Now, you're not going to be able to completely remove the liner as it's connected to the gas tank release, but you'll have enough room to get it out of the way. Now we're ready to start disconnecting the battery. To get this done, use a 10mm deep socket to remove the connection from the negative side of the battery. You're going to want to wrap up that connection with something like a microfiber cloth so that it doesn't accidentally make contact while we're working with the airbags. Next, we need to remove the airbag. Now to get this done, there are two holes, one on each side of the steering wheel near the column. Now these holes lead to a spring-loaded pin that when pressed, releases the airbag. I like to use something like a long Torx driver to release this spring clip. Once each side is released, the airbag will come right out. There's only one plug that holds the airbag to the wheel, so go ahead, disconnect it, and then set the airbag down somewhere safe. Now, a lot of people like to pull off the wheel to install the paddles, but that's not necessary. So for this install, we're going to do it with the wheel still on the car. The first thing you'll need to do is remove the T20 that holds the paddle assembly in place. When looking at the paddle, you're going to see a pin that holds the paddle assembly together. You're going to want to use something like a pick tool to push the pin out from the smaller side to the larger side. Now be sure to do this slowly as you don't want to lose this pin or the spring inside the assembly. Alright, so doing this is going to release the old paddle, which you can now set aside, but be sure to keep that pin and spring close by as we're going to be reusing them. Alright, now we're ready to install that new paddle to the wheel. Let's take that tiny spring and plastic bracket and place them on the back of the assembly. Now carefully rock the new paddle into place, and then we're going to push that pin back in, this time from the larger side to the smaller side to hold it all together. Next, reinstall the T20 that holds the paddle to the wheel and repeat the process on the other side. Be sure not to over tighten that T20 as it's metal and plastic. Now before installing the airbag, I like to test everything out and make sure that everything's tight and that the paddles click the way they're supposed to. Now that the new paddles are in place, we can go ahead and reinstall the airbag. Now to reinstall, just plug in the airbag, line up those metal guide pins and press it into place. When it's locked in, you should hear it audibly click. Now, if you haven't already, go ahead and test out those new paddles. You should feel them click as they press the button, which switches the gears. All right, almost done. The last thing that we're going to need to do is reconnect the battery and button up that trunk liner. Here's a quick look at the before and after. Now, as you saw, these aluminum paddle shifters from Kies Motorsports really transform the way the wheel looks. It makes shifting so much easier. I really love how these paddles look. They actually look like they came from the factory and really give that OE Plus vibe to the car. Now again, Kies Motorsports has these paddles available in a ton of different styles. Comment down below with which style you think looks best. Now, as always, I'll put links in the description below to all the tools and products used in the video today. Now, if you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that like button, smash it if that's what you're into, subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you on the next one. God bless.